Good afternoon to you. 3 minutes past 1 o'clock. It is the 26th day of June 2021. And today we have a very special program happening today. Today being the 26th day, every 26th of June every year, the world gets to celebrate the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And looking at the growing number of drug abuse daily, looking at the number of persons who abuse drug, both in the country and out of the country, it has become very important that we take up this issue, talk about it, find ways of bringing this to an end, and also continue to encourage the partners, the parents, everybody who plays a role to make sure that this comes to an end. My name is Ifeanyi Awa, and this afternoon I've got three special guests with me who will be looking at this issue from different angles, and I'll love to introduce them. I'll love to start off with the State Commander, NDLEA Abia State Command, in the person of Mr. Akimbade Bamidele. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
I also have pharmacist Emmanuel Ahaniku from is the area sales manager, Globalcom Umuahia. Welcome to our studio.
You're welcome.
All right.
And listeners, welcome too.
All right. Also, last and not the least, Omoniyi Oluwafemi, who is the vice president of the NYSC Gender Vanguard CDS Group for Umuahia South. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Now, without wasting any more time, let's go straight to our conversation. And by the way, we'll be opening the phone lines later on for you to contribute to this discussion. Drug abuse is something that has really destroyed the community. When you see the numbers that keep coming out daily, the reports coming out from the NDLEA, the reports coming out from the police also, you see that there is more youths jumping into this particular this drug issue. Now, for those who might not really understand what this is, I'd love to start by asking, what is drug abuse? I'd love to start with Mr. Akimbade, who, let's know, when we say drug abuse, what do we mean by this?
Thank you very much. Drug abuse, in a lay-term definition, could mean when you use drugs outside medical prescription. Now, in this sense, we are talking about both controlled drugs and illicit drugs altogether. The controlled drugs could be seen from the perspective of tramadol, Benylin with codeine, Rufenol, Valium, and other psychotropic substances. The banned drug, which I call the illicit one, will include cannabis in this case, which is very prominent in Nigeria, and it could include cocaine and heroin, and lately methamphetamines.
Now, I'm still staying with you, still on the issue of drug abuse. As a country, the numbers keep increasing on a daily. So, when we look at what might be causing it, what do you think could be the major reason why the numbers have continued to increase?
I think likely because over the years, the agencies saddled with this responsibility. The NDLEA have been largely neglected. And we need to assist NDLEA in the area, particularly in the area of awareness, which is because ignorance is a disease. Most of these youth that are using this drug are not aware that this drug in the first place are addictive, and that when they start to use this drug, it's going to just they are going to stay with it forever. So we need a lot of government coming into this for us to be engaged in aggressive awareness, and for us to improve on our operational activity, which include that we have to go around to check those people that are using this drug. But I want to conclude likely by saying that users, they actually need help, and there is nothing, no help that is coming their way, and that is why they keep on encouraging other people to come into it, because there is no consequences being a user, apart from the fact that you become a menace to the society, and your health as well is affected.
All right. Let me go over to pharmacist Emmanuel. Some persons might say, when you talk about certain drugs that are seen as hard drugs or seen as illegal in the country, they say, I don't take those things. Means I don't abuse drugs. But is there a chance that you might be abusing drugs that are still legal in the country?
Yes, actually, technically, the definition for this drug abuse is a self-destructive pattern of imbibing or using substances that are likely to cause euphoric effects and may alter your physical and psychological states and conditions. A lot of people abuse a lot of things that they don't actually know have that tendency. For instance, you may be surprised that some people abuse things like analgesics. That's painkillers. Actually can cause dependencies. That is, you see somebody that every day he comes in, picks a painkiller, whether he has anything wrong with him or not, and takes it beyond even the prescribed doses. After some time, you discover that in such individuals, the brain starts producing, feelings, sensations of pain that don't actually exist. And those people can no longer feel comfortable except they take these drugs. You'll see that you'll be surprised that for a drug as safe as that, there are a lot of people that, tend to get hooked on it. Things like ordinary cough syrups that you have. In fact, I, have had this experience of having to stop using particular brands of cough syrups. Even though ordinarily they are over-the-counter prescriptions. Do you understand? But because when I discovered that, people come in asking for such brands, and I discovered that people who ask for such brands actually want to abuse them. Do you understand? So after all kinds of, trying to disabuse their minds and other things, and it doesn't work, I just stopped that particular brand.
So I know that you just say you don't have it.
I don't have it. Do you understand? Okay. So that they can, if they can't find it,
they have to do with the one you have.
Not doing with the one I have. Some of them may now have to start, looking for something else and all those things. But at least a lot of them tend to withdraw. Do you understand? From abuse or from addiction to that particular substance. Without knowing that it may actually be present in every, almost every drug that's a cough syrup that you have.
Okay. Now, Oluwafemi, who is a core member, by the way, you have a particular project which tends to discourage young Nigerians, youths, from going into drug abuse. But we'll go to that project later on. But since you've had the opportunity to interact with youth, and you yourself being a youth, how easy do you think it is for youths to get addicted to drugs?
It is very, very easy. And I think the major cause of youths getting into drugs is peer pressure.
Okay.
Because it's very easy. Now, abusing drug is now like the cool thing at this point. If you want to be a big boy now, you have to know how to smoke this, take that, do this. So now, when you're somewhere and you see like you're in the midst of a certain amount of people, and you say that this is the normal norm, the normal happening. If you're somebody who doesn't have a strong mind of his own, you are likely to fall victim of that. And at the point when you start, it just seems like a normal thing. But before you know it, you can't go back. And I've met people who are addicted to drugs, but they would not want to agree that they are addicted to drugs. But if you tell them, stop, don't just take this thing for the next 2 days, it's very difficult for them.
Okay. Now, based on what you just said, pharmacist Emmanuel,
yes,
what could be the first sign that you are addicted to a particular drug?
The first sign is, number one, when you begin to see that there are things that you cannot do without. Do you understand? Particular drugs. For instance, okay, did I mention that one of the most common addictions we have is alcohol?
Okay.
When you discover that you cannot, it is so difficult for you to spend a day without alcohol, you are actually an addict. When you discover things that whenever you take them, it leads you to act or, to depict specific, actions that later you may begin to regret. Do you understand? And still tomorrow you still go back and take that substance, and you become it's a sign that you are addicted. And a lot of other things that are clinical now that you begin to.
All right, Mr. Kimbade, let me come back to you for a bit. Youths are the ones who are more into drug abuse at the moment, and you being in an agency that tends to fight off this abuse of drugs, when you tell youths to stop it, what should they be scared more of? Should they be scared of the criminal aspect of it, that it's a crime, or should they be scared for their health? Which should scare them more?
Yeah, it depends. But I feel that they should be scared at both.
Okay.
Because it's difficult to separate substance use and criminality, and as well as the organs of the body that need to process this out of your system. So I think basically you need to care about both. I think we have a trending video now, the Chukuma Abi Chidinma Ojukwu, who
killed the CEO for TV station.
Yeah. So, and you see what is prominent in our discussion is that they were using drugs. They were using drugs before she lost control and she could not control herself again. So, you'll be addicted, and if Chidinma is taken for medical examination now, you will notice that part of the organs of our body may have been affected one way or the other. So it's a gradual process as concerned about your head, and even criminal tendency is a gradual process. What they do mostly is initially you start asking your parents for more money. As you ask for more money, when they could no longer give, then you start taking some properties from home and you start to sell. When there is nothing to sell again, you go into the street and begin to, force people to dispossess them of their properties. Then gradually, your criminal hierarchy, start to increase, and before you now begin to have problem with the law enforcement. But I think that basically, we don't need to rate them. You should just be scared at both. Your health and your criminal propensity, they are both things that you need to be scared about.
So talking about the crime aspect of this, you talked about your continuous need for the substance would lead you to commit a crime one day. And someone out there would argue and say, I have the money to take care of myself, I have the money to buy this, so why is it a crime on my part?
Yeah, you look at some rich personality that engage in drug use. Okay, they don't go to the street to ask people to dispossess them of their property, but at the same time you are looking at their health. But most of the time you come to see some of these rich personality that you are talking about, putting them on the TV after a while, and sourcing for money for them. I think you have seen many of them, I just don't want to mention names, where Nigerians have been begged to contribute money to change one part of the organs of the body. So now you can say that, you can't just say that because you have the money to use these drugs, the criminal activity is not limited to dispossessing people or stealing alone. You can be aggressive at home. I think you understand that you begin to beat your wife up, and at particular end you may end up using a potent weapon to harm her. And you can even drive dangerously, cause accident on the distance that will lead you still to jail.
Okay, now Femi, youths watch out on social media a lot. Would you see music videos, see movies? Before we came in here, we had a discussion or conversation on how these things continually are on our TV screens, are on the phones. You see them, smoke. You see them pop pills or one or the other. How do you change the mind of a young person when his or her role models, in quotes, are into that particular life?
Okay. So we see a lot of things now on social media, on TV, and all that. And I see that's why a lot of people are calling for social media regulations and banning of some certain music videos. But as a human being, you need to know what is bad, and what is good, is good. You might like somebody for his type of music or the way he projects himself on TV as a celebrity. But I notice a lot of people, the love of your idol makes you start acting like them. So in certain ways, and I think that's why there should be more call for regulations. And that is why, because a young boy now in secondary school, GSS, junior school, who is still forming and is still like finding his way out in life, can get influenced by things like that, by what he sees, and by because you naturally see young children when they say on TV they like to practice in their homes, around their friends, and that is how people start getting affected. And I think like that, I that is why I come to agree that there should be a certain level of regulations when it comes to what people view nowadays. So there is no total way of blocking
them off,
but there should be a way of dissuading those things from
reaching them.
Yeah.
In terms of sensitization, how early do you think we should act in terms of this case? Do we wait to maybe they're in secondary schools, or maybe they're in university, or should we start off early enough to explain the dangers of this particular lifestyle?
I think this should be done very, very early. We shouldn't wait until when a child gets to a certain age, because going out and interacting with people, these young children, you'll be scared at what they know. Like we went to sensitize I think 2 weeks ago, and the students said like a name of drug, and I've never heard it in my whole life, and I'm like, how do you know these things? Me self, that I'm older, I don't know this. And they know things, but if you don't interact with them, you would not know. And that is why we should always keep a closer look at our young boys and girls, so they won't just fall by the wayside due to the use of drugs and what they see.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Mr. Kimbade Bamidele, who's the State Commander, NDLEA Abia State Command. Also, Pharmacist Emmanuel Ahane, who is the Area Sales Manager, Globalcom Umuahia, and Omoniyi Oluwafemi, who's the Vice President of the NYSC Gender Vanguard CDS Group for Umuahia South. Today is the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, and we're looking at the drug abuse, and looking at ways to stop this from being a menace in society. Pharmacist Emmanuel, coming to you right now. When we talk about discouraging youths from going to this, not just youths, even the older ones who are involved in this lifestyle, from a medical point of view, what are some of the effects? Because the state commander talked about organs being destroyed. So looking at this medically, what are some of the effects that you will likely to have when you live this lifestyle?
Actually, drug abuse affects almost all the organs that you have in the body. The one that we are more conversant with is the brain damage that occurs with some of them. And then there are some other drugs that you discover that have every drug. That's what these people concentrate on actually, is the euphoric feeling they have from these drugs, without actually knowing what this drug does to all the other organs. Recently, I was so shocked, to find one substance that, youths locally concoct for themselves these days that they take. And one of the components of that mixture is actually methylated spirit. Methanol will destroy your liver that is faster than anything. And when it destroys that liver, there is nothing else you can do. You know, I don't know whether you've seen people that have something we call ascites. You know, they have bloated stomach, that, you know, legs and all those things, and find it difficult to move around, you know, in constant pain. For such people, unless you can transplant, give them liver transplant, really there is very little you can do. So in as much as they are trying to get high, you know, they are actually taking poisons that are going to destroy them. So a lot of these drugs that, you know, the youth, especially, because when you're talking about the bigger problem, you understand the problem of you know, NAFDAC and the agencies have tried as much as possible to regulate, you know, uses of these drugs, that it is now becoming increasingly difficult to get things like tramadol and other things. But the people are also finding alternative, you know, ways to get other things that cause that euphoric feeling.
My
There are some
question
that
is-
they inhale, and all these things, inhalers, for instance, can cause brain damage. That's the inhalants that they take can cause brain damage. There are those that will destroy your heart and stop it working. Things like nicotine and all those things have their effects on your lungs and your heart, and destroy other organs that you may not be, you know, aware of. There are some drug substances that you take that actually increases your risk of developing cancer.
My question is, because I marveled at how, you know, some of these persons discover ways of getting high. How did they come up with these ideas?
The truth is that, you know, over, you know, time, the, you know, youth tend to experiment with things. They experiment with things, and in the course of that experimentation, somebody may just stumble into something that seems to just alter their senses. They may not want to know what that substance is, how dangerous it actually is to the human head. So long as it gives them that feeling of euphoria, that highness that they talk about, they'll just tend to migrate towards it. And many of them now are so dangerous that even more dangerous than the ones that are legally controlled, that we need to actually be more vigilant with it. And that's why we talk about the primary role of families. When we talk about the primary roles of families, that most of these drugs, when these drugs begin to circulate, and the usage and other things begin to circulate among youths, it's usually the parents that are in the best position to identify this.
Okay.
And so the earlier they get to know what signs to look out for, you know, the easier it is, you know, to control it and to curb their children from getting involved in this.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about the role of the family in all this later on. But I'd love to come back to the state commander. We talked about the TV, role models, artists who continue to do this on screen. And sometimes discover that you've seen more youths do this openly on social media. And that is because these celebs who do this on TV or on screen or wherever on social media do it and get away with it. And there seems to be no punishment for them. And we know that legally these are not lawful. The country does not condone it. So what are the agencies doing right now to make sure that this does not continue? Because if you look at it from this aspect, they are committing a crime, but it seems they're getting away with it.
Thank you very much. I want to say that this is a purely legal matter. I'm sure because of my position in the agency, I know that we have tried, you know, some of these things, and it has come to naught. Yeah, whatever you see on the TV or you see on the social media, you can't take it to court to prove anything, you know, because you don't have the substance. The judge is going to ask you, where is the substance? So what we do mostly is to make sure that we censor. We move against, we work with the Ministry of Information to make sure that we censor some of these videos from being aired on certain radio or TV stations, so to say. But like the pharmacists have rightly said, we need parental, intervention at the earliest stage, because parents are the first contact that any child is going to come across with. So when people sometimes call me, oh, they said drug in this place, they do this one, NDLA is not doing this, police are not going there to collect money, I used to ask, what is the role of the parents of such such children? So we need to just continue to emphasize, because the core of our being here is to make sure that we share fact and save lives. That is the theme for the United Nations Day for 2021. I think that basically NDLA, we've been trying to reach out to some of these artists, some of them that are actually very, very notorious for, going the negative way, because, the negative way is what they, have been claimed to, make them more popular. And, people like, so once you sing Christian songs of them, people don't want to, buy such song and everything. So we try to, bring some of them in to be ambassador for the agency. And that is what we are currently doing under the present dispensation.
All right, we're going to take a very quick break. When we'll come back, we'll continue this conversation. We're going to be looking at the role of the family in this. We're going to be looking at how to curb this. We're going to be looking at, legalization of cannabis, which is a conversation that is going on right now. I'd love to take your view, get your views on this particular issue. Just stay tuned. We're back in a bit.
At Flow 94.9 FM, we've got conducive and well-secured environment for business. High-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
Thank you very much for still staying there. And if you're just tuning in, my name is Ifeanyi Awa, and today is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And that is why we have this particular program coming up. We're trying to look at this particular menace. How did we get here? What can we do to stop this from growing? It's like a cancer right now when it comes to the nation and in the world at large, and it's something that needs to be stopped very fast. I've been speaking with the State Commander, NDLEA Abia State Command, in person of Akimbade Bamidele, and I also have here with me the Area Sales Manager, Globalcom Umuahia, Pharmacist Emmanuel Ahaniku, and the Vice President of the NYSC Gender Vanguard CDS Group for Umuahia South, or Omoniyu Oluwafemi. Now, just because you've just tuned in, we've talked so much about this issue. We've looked at what drug abuse is. We've given examples of what these substances might be. Pharmacist Emmanuel talked about signs you would see to know if you are addicted to a particular substance. Now, let's continue this conversation in terms of the role of the family. I want to go to Oluwafemi on this aspect. Now, family comes first. The first person you meet is your family. And first of all is, how can a family influence either the use or or stop a child from using these substances? Because I've seen stories where children came up to learn about the substances from their family members. So how can they play both roles in this case?
Okay, so for a child, the early stages of interaction is the family. And in some cases, you see children see that their fathers smoke cigarettes and all sorts. And when you see your father, someone who you look up to doing something like that, you think is cool.
Yeah.
Even if someone tells you it's bad, but you be like, my father does it. So you think it's cool. And in other cases, it might be the case of where when the child starts doing these things, the parents are usually not available because you have both working parents who don't have the time to go through or just sit down with their children. So the children have free hands to do whatever they want to do, move out, go to night parties, and all sorts. And in other cases too, as a young person, as a father, a mother, it's very important that you keep a close relationship with your children, because now children who are not really, they don't have like close relationship with their parents, they tend to hide things from their parents. So when they start going through things like that, or when they see someone that does this, if you're a child who talks to your parents about everything that goes up in your life, you can just Daddy, my roommate does this, something, and you as a parent would know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to tell my child. But if as a parent you do not keep a close or maintain good relationship with your children, how would they be able to tell you these happenings even before they start, the signs and everything? If you're not somebody who doesn't keep a close relationship with your children, how would you know this is what is happening in their lives?
Okay, for instance, Emmanuel, in a situation where the parent isn't close to the child, what are signs the parent needs to look out for to suspect that that child might be into this?
When your child begins to display some signs of depression or unusual aggression, there are chances that that child may have been exposed to substances that alter the brain function. Also, there are other things when your child, when a child begins to abuse substances, it can also cause some other symptoms that you begin to see. When a child becomes starts sleeping excessively,
okay,
for instance, there are chances that it is not normal. It could be that this child has been taking some substances that affect his ability to stay, to concentrate and to stay focused and awake. Also, there are a lot of other things. But the truth is that when your child begins to abuse substances, one of the first things you notice is that child becomes reclusive because he doesn't want you to know. And so it depends, like Femi has said, on the relationship that you built with this child. It's important for you to be able to disclose exactly what your child has been doing behind your back. And that is very, very crucial to being able to curb this at an early stage.
Mr. Kimbade, let me come to you on the angle of reporting people. When maybe you have friends who are into drug abuse, what is the right step to take, actually? What is the right step? Could you please pass the mic to him, please? Thank you. What would be the right step to take?
Yeah, I think that by the time the parent gets to know, usually you discover that most time is usually a little bit late.
Okay.
In the day. And like pharmacist has rightly mentioned, the child become a recluse. He doesn't want you to come to the room. And you have some paraphernalia of using of these drugs like perfume, powder, matches, syringes and all whatnot. But I feel that sometimes parents are scared to report. And most of the ones that we have in our rehab, even when we are coming to pick them, they don't want the child to know that they are the one responsible for. So you can see now the phobia that they have for the child, having started to use drugs, become more aggressive, and can say disappointed in them and become very aggressive and destructive in the process. But usually, when we need to mix up with these parents, especially in school, like we are doing with the current government of Abia State, we want to train their teachers to be our trainers in schools. And during the Parent Teachers Association meeting, we will come and inform the parents about what to do. Because you need to know the behavior of your child from the beginning. And when they begin to deviate from this behavior, you should be able to, quickly, draw your conclusion from such behavior and come to report. We are saying that there is nothing we do to users than to expose them to the danger inherent in we share fat with the family, we share fat with the person that is dependent on this drug. Now, United Nations said we should not be calling them drug addicts. We said people that use drug, people that need help. So there is no stigmatization in it for the family to be scared, even for friends to be scared, reporting that this child is beginning to use drug and he needs help. So the first thing is just to come clean, meet a medical personnel or meet a counselor, or you come to NDLEA, and then we can provide solution to this. We have been doing and we have been having success stories.
Now, a lot of persons feel like once the NDLEA gets involved, or maybe the police gets involved in a case of drug, they treat the person more like a criminal than someone who needs help. Is this true?
Yeah, I think that is the, I believe a lot of people have come to associate with law enforcement, especially in Africa and in Nigeria. We rather like to use the stick more than the carrot. But we are trying to change the narrative. That's why I'm saying that even calling them names, that appear to stigmatize them, we try to avoid such things. The rehabilitation home that we have now is like a dormitory. They come out in the morning, they do their workout, we send them out to vocational training, we resolve the issue with their families. Some of them that need to travel out, we, make this arrangement for them. So, and they are not confined, like, somebody that we are taking to court. So usually users are not suspects that are taken to court. We want the public to know. We are saying that they need help because at the initial stage when, the corporate as rightly said, at the initial stage when they start to use this drug, they don't know what they are going into. And they don't know that this drug has the propensity for them to be hooked onto it for forever in there. So when we need to bring them out, we need to teach them some of the coping skills, so that when they leave the rehab, they will be able to apply these coping skills into their day-to-day activities so that they don't have relapse in most cases.
Okay, Pharmacist Emmanuel, should we blame poverty as one of the factors? Big reason is talking about over-the-counter drug buying instead of prescription. In Nigeria, we rarely have people buying drugs based on prescription because they don't even go to the hospital in the first place to get prescribed drugs. And this leads to self-medication because people will tell you, I don't have the money to go to the hospital. And once they prescribe a drug for you, it's expensive. So do we bring in this factor in?
Yes, but then poverty itself is not as much to blame as ignorance. Because the truth is that, as I have mentioned, some of these drugs that we've discovered are frequently abused these days. Some of them are over-the-counter drugs.
Okay.
Which means that by rights you are qualified to go and ask for them. Imagine now that I don't give people cough medications unless I know what you're using it for. It is that bad. You understand? Or somebody that is up to the legal age of consuming alcohol, walking into a bar and requesting for 3-4 bottles of an alcoholic substance. That is something that has to do, you understand, with orientation and with like a trap that the person has fallen into. And such people, sometimes we look at them as people who are enjoying themselves or the people that are, but really they are just like the NDLEA boss has said, they are people that need help. A lot of them don't realize actually that they are trapped until it is almost too late. And I think that the regulatory agencies, including NAFDAC, including PCN, have been doing a lot, to curb the access that people get to some of these substances, by trying to regulate the areas where they can buy them, especially pharmacies and patent medicine stores. But despite that, our fear is actually more on these new substances that they can easily get, either because they don't have enough money to buy the bigger tramadol and all those other ones, which in the long run, as I've said, actually turn out to be mere poisons that they take.
Right. Okay, I want to open the phone lines right now. If you'd love to contribute to this particular discussion or you'd love to ask questions, you can call in 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Again, the numbers are 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. You can send an SMS to 0906 510 8289. We're talking about drug abuse. Today's International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Ways of stopping this. We're looking at the causes. We're looking at what roles have been played to make sure that this is actually stopped. If you have suggestions to give out, we're right here for that. Now, let's go over to the issue of legalization of cannabis, the proposal of this. First of all, do you support this at all? Do you support the legalization of cannabis? I'd love to start off with the NDLEA boss, the state commander. Do you support this?
No. The reason being that we have traveled out of the country to study where cannabis has been legalized, and we look at the value chain from cultivation down to the end user. The value chain has been always controlled, and at the end of the day, it's money for along those value chain. But if you look at the value chain in Nigeria, you will see that it's from the farmer down to the middleman, then down to the consumer, and what you have is just crime. But I want to equally add that what is the property that is very, very high on cannabis is the THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. And when you look at the percentage of those ones that are being cultivated where it is legalized and what you have in Nigeria, they are pulled apart. So you cannot legalize this current one that we have in Nigeria, that is causing people to have a kind of euphoria, propel them to aggressiveness and mental illnesses here and there, when you have not put structure in place that would deal with the fallout of its legalization.
Right, Femi, what's your take on the legalization of cannabis, the proposal put in place?
I'm not in support of it.
Okay.
Firstly, and being that now it is, even with drugs being illegal, it's so easy to find. So when you legalize this, it just becomes a free deal for everybody. And given the states in which Nigeria is, even when you put strict controls and sanctions, I still feel like it's still going to be like a way of just being abusing it, because now it is illegal. It is being abused like no, it is a legal drug. So imagine you now legalizing it. What
might get worse.
That's what we're trying to say.
Pharmacist Emmanuel?
The argument that the proponents for the legalization usually put forward is that there are components of cannabis, like the THC that is mentioned, that have been found to be helpful in the fight against cancer. But the truth is that same THC can actually be extracted, medically or by pharmaceutical companies and be sold, under controlled environment, for medical use. So if you can access such components, why legalize the whole drug? And the truth is that whenever in pharmaceutical practice, whenever you get this cannabis, for instance, and you decide to analyze it, you will find over 400 components in that plant. And you cannot, because you are looking for one component, now decide to legalize the rest. Because by legalizing the rest, you also are exposing the people to a lot of things. Let me tell you one thing that cannabis causes. There is something we call amotivational syndrome that this drug can cause. When you use it over time, especially for children, people that start using it from an early age, they tend to lose focus. They tend to lose the desire. It's a dream killer. You see somebody that has taken cannabis for a long time, that person no longer has ambition, to become anything, useful. He loses that drive to become somebody substantial in society. And that is a motivational syndrome. And we cannot legalize something that is likely to destroy the future of our next generation. Okay. So I don't think we need to legalize that.
0808-182-6949 or 0811-605-2949. These are the numbers to call in. Send an SMS to 0906-510-8289. Let's know what you think about this. The issue of drug abuse. What's your take on it? Suggestions, and also just talked about legalization of cannabis, which it's really a trending topic at the moment. Some persons are in favor of it, some are against it. What's your take on the format just explained? I've not heard it from this angle before, talking about the ability to extract this, and you talked about the fact that it's a dream killer.
Yes.
And someone tells you, well, we have a lot of persons who are doing so much and who are inventive, who are inventing things, who are taking these things. But I'll come back to this question in a bit. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Yeah, who am I speaking with?
Call me back. I have something good for you, please.
Sorry, wrong number. Not for us, all right? 0808-182-6949, 0811-605-2949. Now, going back to that, because we're trying to clear any doubt that might arise from this. You said that it's a dream killer. But yes, someone will tell you that it helps you create things. That's why we take it. So what is your argument against this?
It does. One thing about euphoria, or something that you need to understand about it, is that it gives you a false feeling of highness. When you are high, it looks like you understand everything.
Okay.
When you understand nothing. You understand? Somebody that is under the influence of cannabis may feel that he has grown suddenly wiser than he used to be.
Okay, could you just we'll continue with that in a bit. Let me just take this one. Lost that one. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Ola. I'm calling from Umuahia.
Ola, welcome. Go on.
Thank you. I have a question for the pharmacist and of course the commandant.
All right.
I want to say thank you so much for the wonderful educational program. Like we all know, today is the International Drug-Free Day, and the topic for the year is sincere facts and save lives. But it's also a fact that women are probably more stigmatized when it comes to in the society when it comes to drug abuse. Is there any method, is there anything that the society or the government is doing to grant them, to make counseling accessible to them? For instance, many of them some of the addicts don't want to go to the hospital because they feel once you enter a rehab or you enter a counseling system, they see you are already stigmatized. So, is is there anything that can be done? What is Abia State government doing? The telehealth initiative, is it seated, designed also for this? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. He's talking about counseling and what the agencies are doing to make counseling accessible to persons who are going through this. Okay, let's answer. We'll answer this question in a bit. Let me take this one. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. What's your name? All right. When you call, please go on to state your name and your question. So let's talk about counseling before we go back to what you were saying earlier. So, is counseling made it easier for persons to access? That's what it's asking.
Yeah, the Abia State government had made it. We talked about the unwillingness of some of these people, to get exposed. Some of them are so unwilling to, come to the hospital and state that this is what is wrong with them. But actually, there is something in place, especially we talked about the Abia telehealth, where you can call, and actually state what is wrong with you, and you have a highly qualified personnel, that's medical personnel, listen to you and give you good advice, good medical advice on what is wrong with you, and also direct you on steps to take, because it is not the advice alone is not enough in most of these cases, because it is actually a disorder that you have to do some things about. Sometimes there are medical interventions that you have to take, to get these people to withdraw. Most of the problems that we find with those who are addicted to these substances is the withdrawal syndrome that they face when they want to stop. Some of them cannot stop because if they stop a day or two after they stop, if you see the kind of tremors that they go through, a kind of mental disturbance that accompanies it.
Okay.
You know that it has to, as they need a medical personnel to actually take them through that.
All right.
And take care of it.
Because of time, let's see if we can take one more call. I think I lost that one, but because we just have about 2 more minutes to wrap it up. Oluwafemi, you have a project going on, trying to get kids not to go into that lifestyle. We'll be talking about that in a bit. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon. What's your name?
This is Miss Amarachi, and I'm calling from Imo State.
Okay. Do you have a question or contribution, please?
Yes, I'm calling about the drug abuse and the
Okay.
way it has caused so many harm to the people, the citizens.
Okay.
I think they should do something about it, because in some other countries, in some other places.
Hello. Go on. I'm sorry.
Because in some other places, it has killed so many people, and some people do take drugs that are not good. Some people do take drugs to cure their sickness. Meanwhile, they don't know what they are taking. They don't know that it's still causing some harm.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Because of time, we'll have to wrap it up very fast. But Ofemi, you have a project going on right now. Just tell us a bit about it.
Yeah. I and 2 of my other copper friends.
Okay.
We came up with this project whereby we do a sensitization. We go to secondary schools and sensitize the students, most especially the senior secondary school students, where we talk to them. We give them both career talk and health talk. And the health talk is about drug abuse and how they shouldn't venture into that. And we have sponsors who are backing us up.
All right.
Globalcom and the Abia State Telehealth Initiative.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, I would like to drop the number. If anybody is interested in counseling, like you said.
Okay.
earlier,
Yeah. Go on quickly.
Yeah, I would like to drop the number. You can call and request for help. The number is 0700 2242 362.
Again?
I will take that again. 07002 242362. Please, if you are in need of help or you know anybody who needs, you can call this number. They are willing to attend to you any day, anytime.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll be speaking with the State Commander, NDA Abia State Command, person of Mr. Akimbade Bamidele. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Emmanuel Ahaneku, Area Sales Manager, Global Common Moha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And also the Vice President of the NYSC Gender Vanguard CDS Group for Umuahia South, Omoniyi Oluwafemi. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for having me.
Don't forget, the war against drug abuse continues, and it doesn't just stop right here. It continues with you individually. You have to play your own role in making sure that this comes to an end. From me to you is bye for now. Keep listening to Flow 94.9 FM.